Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So this morning, Bitcoin is still holding strong, but altcoins and the U.S. market is looking weak. So what could be coming this Friday? Well, there's one big event that may be holding Bitcoin down, and that event disappears this Friday. And that huge move we've been looking for could be coming. So what is it? Let's discuss. Smash up the like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell to get notified of all my streams. Follow me on social media. Check out CryptosRUs.com. And follow the brand new CryptosRUs Clips channel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, guys. We're 1 minute away from morning bell ring. Start a little late this morning, but that's okay. We're still here. We're still here. So you can see the U.S. markets looking like it wants to open in the red. Yesterday, Dow, NASDAQ, S&P deep in the green. This morning, I would say deep in the red. Not as much as the green yesterday, but we will see. We will see. I know that S&P 500 has not entered bear market yet. The traders are holding and buying the dips at this point in time. But there are a lot of positive things I wanted to show you guys. So that's market open, market bell ring. But yeah, this morning though, we had a couple of earnings and they were not good. Starting with Snapchat, you can see Snapchat is down 35%. Okay, that's a big drop. Abercrombie and Fitch down 31%. Big drops. So right now, it's not just crypto, okay? It's not just altcoins. Literally any company that misses on anything within their earnings, they are going to get crushed 30+% right now. That's the unfortunate situation that Wall Street and traders, they are just so fearful right now. So much fear. Any little thing will cause an avalanche of sells, with the exception of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still holding strong. So even though the market is opening red right now, and you can see these are still way in the green, way in the red, right? Oops, didn't mean to show that yet. You can see Bitcoin is still holding strong. Still has not moved. This is the same level as yesterday morning. So you can see how it still shows in the green on the right side, because this is the same exact level we started yesterday. Okay, so Bitcoin is still holding strong because the holders like you and I and everyone else, we're not selling. We are going to hold on. This is the best asset to be holding, especially long term, right? But that is the situation right now, is there's so much panic out there. So much panic. But what do you do when there's a lot of panic out there? You take advantage. You continue to DCA, HODL, and buy the dip. But there are a couple things I want to show you guys that's very encouraging. Number one is this. The DXY has been dropping down. A lot of you guys have been paying attention to DXY, which shows the strength of the dollar versus a bucket of other currencies around the world, like the euro and the Japanese yen and the British pound, Swiss franc, and some other destination, some other fiat, I don't know. But the main ones it's been compared to was weak or were weak, and that's why the U.S. dollar is showing strength. But you can see that DXY is starting to come down. And this is something that a lot of people have been looking forward to and kind of speculated, because previous years, when DXY went above about like 102, 3, it started coming down. And whenever DXY comes down in a big way, that's usually a really good indicator of other markets, assets, investments going back up. It makes sense. Money flows out of the dollar and goes into other assets. So you could see back in 2017, it happened. Back in 2020, it happened. And both of these times, You had a tremendous rally with not only Bitcoin, but also with the markets overall. And you can see how DXY seems to have peaked out around 103 or 105 this time. And it's coming down in a big way. And just to show you guys, this is what it looked like before. Anytime you had DXY, you could see it come down any significantly on the bottom side. On the right, on the top side, you see Bitcoin having a pretty good rally afterwards. So one of those other bottom indicators. So if DXY really has topped out and it's going to start swinging down, can we start seeing Bitcoin regain its footing from where we are around 29, 30,000? Quite possibly. So that is something to pay attention to. Will the DXY continue to come down, right? Will it drop into the 90s like before? Well, let's see. Now, something else that I've shown before that's very, very, very positive, and something that the Bitfinex whales, they're preparing. They either know something, or they're about to cause something, or they're simply just really smart and buying the dip right now. Because this is showing the Bitfinex longs, okay, the Bitcoin long contracts on Bitfinex. And you can see that huge spike up has not dropped at all. This is the highest number of long contracts ever recorded on Bitfinex. Well, at least according to this chart, it goes all the way back to about 2018. So it's been 4 years, and you have seen some, some up and downs. And usually this is a really, really, really precursor of what's to come. Usually when the longs go up significantly, right? That means a huge run up is around the corner. In fact, I could overlay it right now and show you guys. I did have that before. Where was the plus? If you add Bitcoin in here, so there you go. You can clearly see that previous time over here, when the longs went up, that was when Bitcoin found a bottom and then it started rallying, right? Almost to the T on dot, right? And you could see what's happening right now with this sudden rise up, right? It correlates with the bottom that we're seeing right now. So again, is this a sign from the whales? Get ready. We are going to have explosiveness to the upside in the near future. Well, maybe. This has been pretty accurate in the past, and this is something that has been going up and up and up and up, and at a level we have never seen before. The whales are ultra greedy at this point. Very, very greedy. Okay, so something else I'm paying attention to, and we will track this, but that tells you something. That really does. All right, now with that out of the way, there is something that I believe that is holding Bitcoin back right now, though. Yesterday I even mentioned about Bitcoin having a pretty good day up to about 30,600, and you could see ever since it hit that, it came back down, but that's not the first time it happened. It happened just a few days ago, right? So ever since we've fallen below this 31,600 and we had a low of 25, we've been having a hard time breaking out of this 35.6 for some reason. But also on the flip side, we also been holding pretty strong at this 28.7. So we're in this very, very narrow gap, this very tight channel. And I'm like, why is that, right? Why has Bitcoin been so steady, so sideways for, a couple weeks? Well, I started to look at things. And I started to think about, well, what's coming, right? There's always a rhyme or reason. We just have to identify what it is. So I'm thinking, what is coming? Well, I think it's options. So we have a huge options expiration that's happening this Friday. Every month, the last Friday, you have the biggest expirations for options and futures. Now, even though there's option and futures expiration literally every day, but the last Friday, that's where you see the massive volume, like billions, okay? And if you look at I know it's a little bit smaller, but I'll zoom out. But if you look at the options that's ending tomorrow, with smaller volume, only like 2-3 million volume, you can see it's pretty even. But something I pay attention to is the max pain price. This is the worst price for both longs and shorts for calls and puts. And it's one of those trading strategies that we have seen hold true before, where traders would basically cause this to happen to basically cause max pain to both sides. So right now you can see May 25th, max pain is 29,000. Well, that's happens to be right where we are. Tomorrow there's one, also max pain about 29,000. But these are low volume again, very low volume. But the main one, the max volume one, comes this Friday on 27th. And you can see this one is in the billions, okay? This is not just a few million. This is billions. And I'm going to zoom in here real quick. Oh, I have to sign in. I cannot zoom in. Oh, no, I could. Here we go. And you could see, like, some of these, like this calls right here at 60,000 is 1.5 billion in volume. Here's one that's for 44,000 call at 1.35 billion. Here's one that's crazy, 80,000 at 1.2 billion. So you have some crazy volume here. Here's one that's calling for Bitcoin at 30,000, 1.5 billion. And then here's one that's calling Bitcoin at 20,000 at 1.5 billion, right? So obviously a lot of money being thrown around here. But what I'm paying attention to is, again, the max pain, which is at $34,000. Now, this doesn't always come true. Some months it does, some months it doesn't. But one of the reasons why we could be holding, so steadily within this range could be because of this, and we're leading up to this. So there could be a really good chance that by this Friday, when options is over and CME futures is also happening, the last Friday of every month. So that'll happen this Friday too. So after those two events, maybe we get some, get some movement and get some positive movement, and possibly even end right around 34,000, which, it seems like we've been stuck here forever. I know, like, whenever we get stuck in a range for maybe like a week or two, it seems like, oh man, we've been here forever and we can't ever get out of this range. But just to keep things into perspective, just 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, I should say, Bitcoin was holding nicely at the 38,000 mark until the whole UST Luna thing started driving things downwards, and then we now formed a base here, right? So we were at 38,000 at the beginning of the month. So it's not unreasonable to think that we could go back to 34,000 by this Friday, and maybe even start our movement up back to 38,000 after Friday, right? But unfortunately, this happened after the whole UST collapse and all the fear and uncertainty and doubt started coming in. And then we had Tether FUD, and we had other FUD, and a lot of other FUD, right? So it just kind of compounded itself on top of market weakness. But you know what? We have something to look forward to this Friday. And maybe that just kind of lifts the lid and allows Bitcoin to breathe and start moving once again. All right. So I did want to talk about those things real quick. And then lastly, of course, I got some other stuff to show you guys, including this from Scott Miner. Some of you guys noted that he went on CNBC and did another interview, very, very bearish on Bitcoin. But that's okay, because it could be a bottom indicator as well. I shared this yesterday, but I'm going to share it again. When he first got into Bitcoin, he was super, super bullish, like every newcomer into the space, calling Bitcoin 400, 600,000 in no time. And then he called it where it's going to sink to 15K or 10K right towards the bottom of the 2021 low. And now he's calling Bitcoin can plunge even more, 70% down to 8K. This is just a person that just really doesn't understand Bitcoin or doesn't understand the strength of the holders. So could be another bottom indicator. Okay. And then two other things. Just to show you guys, Bitcoin on a logarithmic chart, still showing it's in range, hasn't broken downwards, hasn't done anything out of the ordinary. And if you look at the bottom of this and the top of this, it's been pretty steady, and it does show that we haven't had that top event yet, right? Like all previous times before, all previous cycles, we did not hit that top yet. And that is the next leg up that we're looking forward to. When will that come? Well, could be right around the corner. And Plan C also has something similar. This is looking at like the risk map of Bitcoin and the holders, and what are the risks in terms of, at what level to buy at, right? And the green, obviously, the lower Bitcoin is. This is almost similar to the Bollinger Bands, in my opinion. It looks very similar, but obviously the lower Bitcoin is, the less risk there is. And you can see we are close to the bottom of the lowest risk line. So it does show you, again, we're oversold and we could be at that bottom once again. And lastly, Coinbase. A lot of you guys use Coinbase Wallet, not to be confused with Coinbase Exchange itself. Coinbase does have their own wallet. It's a non-custodial wallet, but it does hook up to Coinbase very easily if you want to transfer your tokens out of Coinbase Exchange into your own wallet, right? But traditionally, it only supports ERC20 based tokens, but they are changing that. They're going to add BNB Chain and Avalanche so that it will support tokens from both of these chains as well. And Solana too. They added Solana already, but so this is Coinbase Wallet is turning more into like a trust wallet, basically a universal wallet for all coins, but not as extensive as Trust Wallet. And they're not alone. Robinhood is coming out with their own non-custodial wallet. Yesterday, GameStop said they were going to do the same thing. So it's a very, very competitive space. But this is good overall because it allows people to store their own crypto, to be in control of their own funds and wealth, and no one could take that away from you. So I think overall it's positive. All right, that is pretty much it. Let's do some Q&A. Sorry, my dogs are going crazy outside, so I just want to make sure the door is closed tightly. All right. Crypto Savvy. When WIPO, I don't know. When you admit this is a bear market for at least another year, I've been calling this the whole time. Well, good for you. Pat yourself on the back. Maybe you have been calling it and you were right. But you know what? A lot of people have called a lot of things in the past and they were wrong. So congratulations if you called it right. But it doesn't serve anyone any good at this point in time. I have been in the space for a very, very long time. And the one thing I have found to be true is to DCA and HODL. And no matter how bad it gets, and no matter how many people say, wow, you should have sold that top, it doesn't matter. Because if you're holding and you're DCAing over a long haul, you always come out a winner. It was the same thing when Bitcoin went to 20,000. Then I held all the way down to 3,000. And look at where we are now, 10x higher. So if you're going to be a long-term investor, the strategy doesn't change. It doesn't matter. You continue your ways. So that's the one thing I've learned. The ones that have held the longest have made the most in this space. All right, what else is there? What's new about Luna? I did not hear anything new since yesterday. Unfortunately, the burning has really, really stopped. I mean, the burn address was going up, I guess, decently, relatively speaking, but then it has slowed down quite a bit. I think people have realized that the burning is not helping, is not contributing to or it's not helping change Do Kwon's mind. He still does not like burning. So perfections on ApeCoin. I think you mean I don't know what you mean. Update on ApeCoin. Well, I think most people are still waiting for Other Side Metaverse game to come out. You know, Yuga Labs haven't really declared they haven't really told everyone about, you know, all these attributes and these quotas that were introduced with their NFT land drops. How's that going to play into the game? And is it going to be ERC, you know, Ethereum, or is it going to be Ape that's going to be powering the metaverse for, you know, as an in-game currency or to be used for transactions or whatever, right? So there's still a lot that's kind of like being speculated right now. But I think they'll figure it out. Obviously, they're a behemoth, so yeah. Hike to Earth. Do you need your cars watched like DCA? I actually can use that. I was thinking about that the other day. I need to wash my cars. Let's see here. What else is there? Which DEX do you use to buy crypto? Well, variety of them. I like using Uniswap. Occasionally, I would use like Sushi because it's a little bit cheaper. And there's a few others out there. I have used Trader Joe for things that's on Avalanche. I use PancakeSwap for things that's on BNB chain. So there's a variety of them. I've also used Spooky Swap for things within Phantom's ecosystem. So it really depends on what chain you're trying to trade on. There is not one that's really for everything. Even though there's a few DEXs that kind of aggregates a lot of these chains. I think Rubik is one of them, but I just tend to use several different ones. Camille, could we see Bitcoin 20K? Sure, it could happen. Anything could happen when it comes to markets. Okay, with Bitcoin. I did not think that Bitcoin could fall to 3,800 in March of 2020. That was not a level that I thought would ever come again, that we could see Bitcoin in 3,000 range. But it did. It happened. So it could happen. Can Bitcoin go down to 20K? Sure, it could happen. Can it go down to 10K? Sure, it could happen. Could it go down to 3K again? Sure, it could happen. But is it likely? No. But sure, anything could happen. Terry, I have no idea what you're talking about. Any Chainlink news? Not really. Not really. I did cover Chainlink recently. There was one thing that was going on. I forgot what it was, but not anything big right now. James, you're still asking about B Pro. I've got off the B Pro bandwagons because they were sold. They were sold to some bigger company. So I don't know if they can. I don't know if they could be the same as they were before. And Rue, the CEO, basically he's not in management anymore. He's just in development. So good for him and good for the team, I guess. But as a project, I think once you sell out, it's different. Do you see a huge sell-off in crypto and stock market as a prime opportunity for generational wealth creation if you choose the right ones? Every single time. Every single time. Yes. Every single time you see a huge correction, a huge dip. You know, I mentioned about Bitcoin dipping to 3,800 in 2020. Yeah, that was one of those times. So even though Bitcoin has only gone up 10x, but Ethereum was at $80 at that point. So you do the math. Even with Ethereum being at whatever it is now, what, 2,000, maybe less than 2,000, you do the math. That's a crazy gain. So you do what? 1957 divided by 80. Wait, 80 divided by 1957. Yeah, that's a huge, 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 huge gain, right? And that's one example. BNB also. Binance Coin fell down to like, I don't know, a few dollars back then. And many others, you know, Cardano was below 10 cents. So yeah, that was one of those moments. Had you stocked up huge, you could have made a killing, made generational wealth or life-changing wealth at the very least, right? So every single time Bitcoin has a huge drastic drop or sell-off, and same can be argued with stock market. Every single major investor, a self-made billionaire investor, they've all said they made their wealth by buying when everyone else is panicking, buying when things are cheap, buying when things are low. And when things come back up, roaring up, and make new highs, that's when they make their money. So yes. Camille, your thoughts on Phantom and Andre? Oh, we'll see. I think Andre can't help himself. He helped get Phantom to where it is. And this whole thing with UST, he wants to make sure it doesn't happen with FUSD. So I think that's why he's helping out. He just wants to make sure, a bank run kind of thing won't happen and just absolutely kill Phantom. I'm speculating, but that's what's looking like right now. Have you heard of anything on Cash App being hacked? No. Max DYOR, I asked you a half year ago about StepN. You didn't pay attention to them. What do you think now? I don't regret it at all. I think that is a project I would not touch with a 10-foot pole. So just because it has gone up does not mean that it's a good project to be holding on long term. And I still don't believe it is. I think there's actually something very fishy about that project. And I don't trust it at all. Will Axie recover? Yeah, it'll recover. I don't think it's big enough where it should not just go die out. They still have plenty of treasury. There's still a large community. It's just that their economy was devastated, or I guess unsustainable, you could argue, because Axies themselves, which are NFTs, they got too expensive, and it prohibited new players from coming in. So they had to do something about it. And also, their SLP release, which is their in-game token, was being released at an unsustainable rate. It was there was too much, and they changed their algorithm for that. And now they're doing other things to allow players to play for free and stuff like that. I think they'll be around. They'll stick around. Is Shiba going to the moon? There's something going on with Shiba right now. Someone is hyping up Shiba, saying that there's something huge around the corner. I don't know what it is. Rumors about some kind of Red Bull collaboration or something like that. I don't know if that's true, though. But supposedly there's something big being worked on right now. So. All right, guys. That is it. Overall, I didn't even check the U.S. market right now. Let's see where things are. Dow isn't doing too bad, but NASDAQ is getting hammered once again. All right. NASDAQ down almost 3%. Yes, NASDAQ is in the bear territory. Or, I mean, here's the thing. Wall Street right now, they are selling off anything they consider risk on, and they're not even buying risk off assets at this point. But anything that's risk on assets, which primarily is tech and high growth sectors, they are selling off. They're selling off hardcore, right? And obviously we have seen that correlation when it comes to Bitcoin and crypto. But I would argue that, of course, Bitcoin is not a tech stock. The metrics are still strong. Adoption is still strong. The growth curve is still very, very early. And we have very, very strong holders, stronger than any stocks, any holders of stocks, let's just put out there, okay? So Bitcoin is not going away, and Bitcoin has seen worse, and I do believe that 25K could have been bottom. Can we go lower? Sure. But I do believe this happened because we had a huge collapse with one of our major stablecoins, UST, and collapse of Terra. Had that not happened, we could be holding at 38,000 right now. Okay? So it took massive dumping of $3.5 billion for this to happen. And even with that happening, we have crawled back up and now holding around $28,000, $29,000, $30,000. So very encouraging. And this Friday, let's see what happens after options expiration. Maybe the ceiling gets lifted finally and Bitcoin is allowed to move. We will see. We will see. But like I've always been saying, stay strong, have patience, continue your same strategy, which is to basically DCA over the long haul, and that is the one true path to life-changing wealth and attaining financial freedom. All right, guys, that is it. Smash it a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys later today, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.